They froze the money. Not in Caracas, not in Washington, but in Zurich. When Switzerland recently froze Venezuelan state-linked assets amid international sanctions pressure, it reminded the world of a quiet truth. Swiss power has never relied on armies, it relied on vaults. For centuries, Switzerland did not dominate continents. It did not command oceans. It did not project aircraft carriers. It mastered something subtler: trust. In medieval Europe, the Swiss Confederation was not a financial empire. It was a mountainous patchwork of cantons navigating survival between larger powers: the Habsburgs, the French crown, the Holy Roman Empire. Its soldiers were famous long before its bankers were. Swiss mercenaries fought across Europe. Discipline, reliability, neutrality in contracts. They served France, the papacy, various Italian states. Even then, a pattern was forming. Switzerland exported stability. Not political ideology, not conquest, but dependability. By the 16th and 17th centuries, while Europe burned in religious wars, the Swiss cantons refined a different strategy: internal cohesion, external neutrality. When the 30 Years' War devastated the continent, Switzerland avoided large-scale destruction. Its neutrality was formally recognized in 1648 under the Peace of Westphalia. Stability became its comparative advantage, and stability attracts capital. By the 18th century, private banking houses in Geneva and Zurich were managing wealth for European elites: aristocrats from France, merchants from Italy, princes from German states. Money moved quietly across borders, often more safely than people could. Then came the 19th century. Europe industrialized, empires expanded, revolutions erupted. Switzerland did something radical in 1848. It became a modern federal state with a stable constitution, decentralized cantons, and political predictability. In a century of upheaval, predictability was rare. Railways were built, industry developed, but something more important grew alongside them: a reputation. Swiss banks did not just hold money, they protected it. In 1934, amid rising authoritarian regimes and political surveillance across Europe, Switzerland passed its Federal Banking Act. Article 47 made it a criminal offense to disclose client information. Banking secrecy was no longer tradition, it was law. During the turbulence of the 1930s and the catastrophe of World War II, Switzerland remained officially neutral. Surrounded by Axis-controlled territories, it balanced diplomacy, trade, and survival with precision. Its banks handled assets from multiple sides of the conflict. Neutrality did not mean isolation, it meant access. After 1945, the world split into blocs. The Cold War reshaped geopolitics. Capital fled unstable regions. Wealth sought discretion. Swiss banks became synonymous with confidentiality: numbered accounts, discretionary wealth management, cross-border asset protection. Zurich, Geneva, and Basel became financial nodes as significant in their own way as London or New York. Unlike the City of London or Wall Street, Swiss finance was not built primarily on scale. It was built on discretion. Political leaders, industrial magnates, oil exporters, families from volatile regions, they all shared one fear: instability at home. Switzerland offered distance from that instability. No empire, no superpower military, but an institutional promise. And institutions, when trusted, compound influence. By the late 20th century, Switzerland had become one of the world's largest offshore wealth centers. A significant share of global cross-border private wealth flowed through Swiss institutions. But secrecy attracted scrutiny. In the 1990s, dormant World War II-era accounts linked to Holocaust victims triggered international controversy in legal battles involving major Swiss banks. In the 2000s, pressure intensified again. The United States pursued tax evasion cases against Swiss institutions. The era of absolute secrecy began to erode. Agreements on automatic exchange of financial information reshaped global banking transparency. The model adapted. Secrecy softened. Expertise deepened. Swiss finance evolved toward asset management, private banking advisory services, commodity trading, and global investment structuring. The brand shifted from hidden to secure. And through it all, neutrality remained the core narrative. Switzerland is not a member of the European Union. It is not part of NATO. Yet it is integrated into global finance. Its currency, the Swiss franc, is considered a safe haven asset in times of crisis. When markets panic, capital often flows into Switzerland, because safety, once institutionalized, becomes reflex. Then came the 21st century's new test, sanctions. When assets linked to Russia were frozen following the invasion of Ukraine, and more recently when Venezuelan-linked funds were restricted under international measures, Switzerland demonstrated something crucial. Neutrality does not mean passivity. It means calculated alignment with international legal frameworks while preserving structural independence. The vault is not apolitical. It is procedural. Switzerland's power has never been theatrical. There were no aircraft carrier fleets, no grand imperial monuments across continents. Its leverage is quieter. Access to capital markets, custody of sovereign wealth, commodity trade hubs in Geneva, global private banking networks. Where empires once projected force through soldiers, Switzerland projected influence through balance sheets, and balance sheets shape outcomes. Conflict erupts, currencies collapse, governments change. Money seeks stability. Switzerland built a system designed to receive it. From medieval mercenaries exporting discipline to 19th century bankers exporting discretion to 21st century regulators freezing sanctioned assets, the pattern holds. Security creates trust. Trust attracts capital. Capital generates influence. Influence sustains relevance. Switzerland did not build an empire of territory, it built an empire of custody. And in a world where financial flows can destabilize governments faster than armies once could, custody is power. The recent freezing of Venezuelan funds was not an anomaly, it was a reminder. The mountains do not move, but the money does. And it often stops in Switzerland.